Good evening and welcome to another edition of Nevada County Interviews. And I'm your host, Paul Minicucci. And tonight we have in the studio live the dynamic duo. It's our great pleasure to have our two very special interns, Honor Olmez and Drory Kiva. Welcome to the set. And Honor and Drory are both not only great interns working on functions like editing and fixing equipment and that kind of thing, but are very good young videographers. So we'll be talking about two of their films each. So let's start with Honor. We'd like to know who you are before we talk about your work. So tell me where you were born, Honor.
Well, I was born in Westchester, Pennsylvania, which was when I was quite a while ago. Then I moved to Grass Valley when I was roughly around 2 years old, and I just lived here ever since.
And I know your family is of Turkish origin?
They're both from Turkey, but my mom was actually born here. Then she moved back to Turkey, and then she came back, so it's kind of like a little...
And do you go back and visit Turkey?
Almost every summer.
Right. And what's your feeling about Turkey? How's it like America? How's it different?
It's very different. It's I mean at the tropical part, like not really the tropical part, but like the beaches and the good, nice part of Turkey. It's a really nice place.
Good. And so you are graduating this year from Bear
graduated,
River?
Yeah.
Yes, you did graduate from Bear River. Tell us, how did you like Bear River?
Well, it was a small school, one of the smallest high schools in the whole county, so nice home-like feeling to it.
Good.
I liked it.
And so you're wearing a San Jose State University T-shirt. Is that indicative of where
That's
you're going?
That's where I'm going. Yep, engineering major.
You're going to be an engineering major. Good. I hope you study up on your calculus.
Yeah.
Great. So, and Drory, how about you? Where were you born?
I was born in Santa Cruz, California, and I moved up here to Grass Valley when I was 6 or 7. We go back there
You go back
all the
to
time, but not that far, so probably Pennsylvania.
And it's not Pennsylvania, no. Santa Cruz is like nowhere else in the United States, actually.
Yeah.
And so, Drory, you are going to be a senior this year at Godoti Early College High School.
Yes.
Tell us about what that means. What does that mean?
Well, Godoti is a very small high school. There's 100 and so students there, and we take high school classes as well as college classes at Sierra College, and so when you graduate, you have some college credits or your AA.
Do you miss not being at NU, do you think? I mean, it's a very different place.
Yeah, it's definitely very different.
Yeah. What's the high point for you? What's the best part about Godoti?
I think really it's size for me. You really get to know everyone better and your teachers. And I just like the small school, and the college classes are.
Right.
It's nice to be able to do that.
Right. Do you find that more challenging than the high school classes?
For the most part, yeah.
And so what's in store for you? You're going to be looking at colleges. I know you visited back east a little bit.
Yes.
Tell us what you're looking at. I'm
looking mostly at schools in the East Coast, but we're also going to check out like some schools down in Southern California for film. But I think that's probably what I'll be.
Going to go into film?
I think so. Yeah.
Great. So, well, there's some good schools down south. Of course, there's CalArts and Chapman and USC.
Yeah.
And UCLA, which is my alma mater. And, of course, I always tell people it's the best 4 years of my life. But it's a challenging time to be looking at film as things are changing really drastically. And, with the advent of the Red camera, for example, where you're really talking about the melding of film and video together. And I know you guys had a little bit of an opportunity to work on the Red camera. So, all right. Well, we're going to we'll talk a little bit about your time here at NCTV.
Wow.
And one of the sad parts about being here was that our engineer, Bill Carquist, passed away last year, and I know you both knew him well.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a funny story about
Well, he
Bill?
was sort of like my mentor for like the past five years. I've worked here since beginning of 7th grade, so it's been almost 6 years since I've interned here. And he's been here for those 5 years. It was really a lot of help to me.
Right. And he had a very, very keen sense of humor and
Yeah, definitely.
great wit. And I enjoyed the short time I had to spend with him. But how about you, Joy? Do you have any particular memories of Bill?
Just like what Honor said, I really learned a lot from him at the station, and he was always a really funny guy.
Yeah. He really was like a walking encyclopedia
Yeah.
of TV. I mean, you ask
knew
him a
everything.
question, and he'd say, well back in 1978, when I was in Burbank.
Yeah.
And he was a very funny guy. So what do you take away from your time here, Honor? How has working here helped you in terms of defining who you are and maybe what you're going to be
it's
doing?
changed everything, basically. I've learned how to edit video since I've been here. I've taken a class here and then went at UC San Diego. It was like a 5-day course over there in UC San Diego. I learned Final Cut Pro. That was just from interning here.
Right.
That's where I learned it.
And I know as well, both of you got an opportunity, a rare opportunity actually, to get behind the rack and learn the equipment that's in a professional studio rack, which is a real help. And Jory, last year you were back in Rhode Island.
Yeah, I went back to Brown University and took a 3-week course there in video production, and that was a really interesting and fun time. And I would like to think I don't think I would have done that if I hadn't been here. That's where I learned a lot of, or probably all that I know of Final Cut and different video stuff from interning here.
Right. And I want to tell the viewers at home, these guys are like greased lightning on Final Cut Pro. They work really quickly. And both were just involved in doing some editing for a show that we did with 3 high-definition cameras out in the field. And that's a new thing for me, and I don't know if you guys had...
Yeah, I'm used to HD now.
Yeah, you're used to HD. And both Jory and Honor, I know, have regular cameras, Nikons and...
Well, I have a Canon. We both
You have a
Canons,
Canon,
Canons, yeah.
And so you do some video shooting on what's really not a video camera. Is that
Well,
right?
it's a video camera photo mix, like a DSLR that takes video.
Right. And what's the best feature about that? I mean, lenses or...
Well, that's one of them, but I would say like the depth of field that these cameras provide. You can like zoom in and then focus the camera whatever you want.
So you can use some traditional things like f-stop and...
Oh yeah, you have everything. All the controls are under your hands.
Which is true. You don't really get that much control on most HD cameras.
Yeah, especially for the price. And I think that these cameras, even though that's not what they're meant for, they provide incredible quality with their larger sensors and the interchangeable lenses, which you can't get on a camera.
So you could put a really high zoom lens on a camera like that, huh?
Well, the price goes up like crazy when you get those expensive lenses, but you could.
Right. So what was the... I know you guys both fooled around with video and have done fun videos. What's the favorite video you did, Jory? I liked your little ad video. That was pretty funny.
That one, I'll just say that was one of my favorites, definitely. That was quite recently with some friends, and I got together and made it's like a minute-long kind of parody of the Geico commercials.
Right.
And
good news.
yeah, exactly. That was what we were going for, and it's this kind of like war scene, and it really challenged me to figure out how to do some advanced compositing and effects in some programs that I hadn't done before. But it was a lot of fun, and it turned out pretty
Yeah,
well.
It's pretty
in my
funny, and it does show, as Dory said, After Effects. And there's these little machine gun shots where guys running across the desert, and then you can see the bullet, little puffs of smoke as the bullets are hitting the ground, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so, some blood and gore at the end of it.
A
And
little bit.
the guy gets shot, and he says, "Hey, but good news! I saved 10% on my insurance." You know?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. How about you, Honor? Did you do anything that?
My funny one, I couldn't get to show it. I'm not going to be able to show it today,
Right.
but it's called Bodily Noises. Just like a fun little video. I have multiple clips of me making different bodily noises, and I kind of combine them in such a way it's like a music video. It's like boom, boom, and then just shows me passing gas or something burping. It's pretty funny.
Bodily noises.
Yeah.
So, we're probably not going to see that one on
Not
the
gonna see
Academy
that one,
Awards.
no,
But,
unfortunately.
so, we are going to show, however, we do have two videos that each have made. Joy and Honor both brought in two videos, and we're going to start with yours, Honor. And the first one you have that we'll cue up is a short 2-minute piece. Tell us what this is
It's called
about.
Walking in the Past. It's actually, it shows both like Nevada City today and back in the day, back in like 1850s. It's got photos of old historical photos of Nevada City, both then and today, and I just kind of combined them in such a way. It shows the exact photo, what it looked back in the 1850s, and then exactly what it looks today.
We'll talk a little bit more about it after we see it. So right now, let's cue up Walking in the Past. Great. So, yeah, just as Honor said, there's a shot from a photo album, and then you took and produced this shot as it looks today. Which came first? Did you know which you were looking at? Or
It was kind of confusing directing. I mean, I directed it myself. I think I can't remember. I went to Nevada City first, and I got the shots. I looked at the areas to shoot, and then I went to the Nevada County Historical Society, looked at their photos, and then from those photos, I just then went to those locations and then
reshot them.
shot the pieces.
Yeah. So did it take a lot of time
It took me about a week.
to figure out exactly where the camera needed to be?
Not really. It was
No?
just a
Did
little
you
bit of
post-produce
coordination.
it, or did you hit it pretty much on the mark when you were...
I hit
Because
it
the
pretty
shot's
much.
just about,
Yeah.
you know...
I had to tweak a little bit, but it was pretty close.
So what were you trying to do here in this short
Well,
film?
it's just try to emphasize the history in Nevada County too, but also Nevada City, because there's a lot of history behind that
Right.
small little town.
And what did you learn from delving into the history, the
Well,
photographs?
I was, what was it, 3 years ago? Actually, no. It was 2 years ago, 2009. I entered this into the Nevada County Film Festival. I got first prize on it. But I was still I was a basic video editor. I wasn't as good as I was today.
Right.
So it kind of taught me a little bit more about the editing
Right.
field.
And might you consider doing a longer version of that at some point?
From who knows?
Who knows?
Features
Yeah.
long.
Has it been used on television for the Nevada City Chamber of Commerce or
It
anything
hasn't
like that?
been used on television, but it's on YouTube. It's on
Yeah.
my video channel on YouTube.
We should probably get it played, queued up here and play. You know, I mean, it's a fun little video. And then there's another video that we're going to show now. This
Definitely
is
longer. This
Definitely
is-
longer, and this is part of a collaboration you have with an
Yeah.
artist. Tell us about it.
Well, the artist is called Jeffrey Severn. He's an artist, and illustrator, and owner of Laughing Bear Art. He lives in the area, lives in Grass Valley. And we've been teaming up together and creating a little series called Drawing the Line. There's about 8 episodes now. So it's basically we just go to various locations in Nevada County, and we shoot everything that we see.
And he's real good at and very quick. I mean, he can
has a quick
can
sketch
draw a picture really quickly. He has a kind of a cartoon style though, because when he draws the animals, for example, we're going to see in this video, he puts an expression on their face. They actually
Yeah.
become a person that has kind of like a personality to
He
it.
creates personalities. He doesn't like completely draw what he exactly sees. He draws like something that's inside of his head.
Right.
It looks a little funnier.
Yes. Yeah. So let's cue up this one called Drawing the Line and show it. Or not. So, we'll
I can
talk
keep
until
talking
it
about
starts
it.
rolling. And in this piece, people will see that you're going to
Well, it's about an 11-minute long video. It's about alpacas. It's
Right.
the Mustang Valley Alpaca Ranch. It's down, you keep going down by Fairgrounds. It's quite a while. It's about 20 miles from there. Not 20 miles, 5 miles from there.
right.
So
I
there's
think I know where it is.
it's an
And
alpaca
so
farm.
tell us, why did you choose an alpaca ranch?
Well, it's just the character of the alpaca is kind of nice to draw. It was Jeff's idea, the artist's idea, to just try it out and see what happens, and it turned out really nice.
Okay, so let's run it if we have it queued up.
Welcome to episode 8 of Drawing the Line. Today we are visiting Mustang Valley Ranch, owned and operated by Greg and Catherine Diaz and Deborah Alfred. Located in the foothills of western Nevada County, Mustang Valley Ranch is not your ordinary ranch. You won't find cattle, horses, or sheep here, but you will find, well, something else. Yes, alpacas. Alpacas look like small llamas, but unlike most llamas, alpacas are not used as pack animals. Instead, well, alpacas are raised for their lustrous and silky natural fiber coats, which are used to create blankets, sweaters, hats, and gloves. I personally find alpacas great subjects to draw, mainly because they are so cute, well, and goofy looking. So let's go draw some alpacas. These are some really cute critters going here, and look like they work up an appetite. It was a real hot day today, so I'd be hungry too. Okay, let's see. You know, the alpacas are in the camel family. They're a lot smaller. I guess they're related to the llamas. And they've got great hairdos. I think that's one thing I like about the alpacas. They look like Rod Stewart or Tina Turner even. That would be, I can see a lot of, it's look at this one staring right at us. Let's get that over them too. That's just a great look. This one looks like Ringo Starr. They're looking at me as if they're posing, which is great. Keep up the good work, girls. Oh, look at, oh, that's a great shot. These long necks, which are really great to draw too. That's a cute one. Let's try another angle. Let's paint this little lady over here by the dinner trough, okay? She's got quite an appetite for such a small little petite alpaca. Let's see. I want to do a facial shot of her. She's just beautiful. I love their hairdos. Come on, little girl. Let's see that. Yeah. What's great about alpacas is they don't have to kill them to make money from them. They can just shear their lustrous, fibrous coat and then sell it for people that make sweaters and blankets and all that kind of stuff out of it. There's a great out of their great fur. And she's got a little bit of straw in her mouth too, so let's there you go. Well, as you can see, I'm sweating like a stuck pig out here. It's close to 100 degrees, and we're surrounded by alpacas. Well, look at over here. This is what we call a group shot. We got them all at the dinner trough. We got heads and neck everywhere. So, let's try it. This is a great shot. Let's see, we got one looking at me. We got several heads over there. Look at those hairdos. Whoa. Really? Some of them look like they have beetle haircuts. go. This one's a good one too. I think they're eating alfalfa right now. That's what it looks like to me. I like a little more, well, protein in my diet, but that's cool. Looks a little like whiskers, but it's actually alfalfa. Oh, look at this one right here. We go to the right, or right over here, and we can see a really great-looking young lady. Pan back here, you can see what I mean. Let's get one more in there, like he's looking at us, or like she's looking at us. I keep referring to them as males, but these are all females. There we go, a group of alpacas. I want to thank Deborah, Catherine, and Greg for having us out here today at Mustang Valley Alpaca. Please join us next week for episode 9 of Drawing the Line.
So, Drawing the Line is a series. What are you trying to accomplish with this?
Well, we're just trying to promote businesses and points of interest in the county.
Through drawing?
Through drawing, yep.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about this from a perspective of a videographer. You had a couple of things you were trying to do. One, you have Vern, is his name?
No, Jeffrey.
Jeffrey. He's drawing on the tablet. Mm-hmm. And so that's going to be, to start out, the lightest thing you see, the white on the tablet?
Yeah.
And then you have to also show...
You have to alternate, because I'm a
You have to
one-camera.
alternate, because he's seeing... And so you have to show the people what he's seeing.
Yeah.
More or less, right?
It's really tricky.
Yeah, it's tricky because and then also, well, he's in the foreground. There's a llama that's in the background, not in focus.
That was one of the best shots I've ever taken with that camera,
Right.
actually, because I got everything.
Yeah, it's a
in
really
one
good shot.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what you have to when you're doing videotape, figure out what's in the background. There's an old saw about when you do videography, not to make sure there's a telephone pole coming out of somebody's head, because sometimes people get so used to looking at the foreground and you don't realize that in the background there's something really distracting or odd looking. And in that case, you just had it framed, perfectly.
Really perfect.
Yeah. So, and the other shot, the group shot, you had to have some decisions too about how much you're going to spend.
Alternate. How much time do I spend on the llamas? How much time do I spend on the
Right.
guy?
Now, was there some footage that you didn't show in this movie that you took, or
Well,
is
there
it
was
everything?
some practice footage we
Yeah.
usually do before we start the real thing. Which I do have the footage, but I didn't use it.
Right. And that's what to get
Just to get us ready.
Yeah. What's next? What is
Well,
number 9?
We're really not sure yet. We're thinking
Yeah.
about drawing vegetables.
Growing
at a
vegetables.
Thursday market.
At the Thursday
that was
market.
one
That
of
would
the,
be
that was
really
one of the things we were
fascinating.
thinking.
Yeah. And Jeffrey, does he do this as a sidelight, or is this?
Yeah, this is a little side job.
Yeah. Well, great. That's it was an interesting lesson in videography. I mean, you had to do quite a few things there. And did you have to make any focus changes while you were?
Oh yeah, ton
Yeah.
of focus. You can probably see I had a hard time doing the focus because the cameras don't have autofocus.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to keep up with the
And you have
focus.
to be careful when you pan from one set of light circumstances to another. Things
Focus
will,
has to change.
yeah, the focus has to change because otherwise you're going to get the light is going to be lighter than you intended, or
Yep.
vice versa. So there's a lot to think about when you're doing a videography. I think people don't at home know that. Well, let's turn now to Dory's work. We're going to see two pieces that Dory did, and the first one is called.
It's a little promotional video that a friend, Jordan Halpern, and I did for the animal shelter. It's fairly short, and it's just kind of just illustrates what they do and just to help them out a little bit, I guess.
And so, are you trying to capture an emotional edge to this thing? I mean, do you want the viewers at home to say, "Gee, it's a cute animal"? I should
Yeah.
take them home.
Definitely,
Yeah.
we wanted to. We made sure to use music that would work for that, and we got a lot of great shots of some really cute animals there too.
So, when you're doing a piece like this, are you worried about you have sound considerations, audio considerations, as well as video considerations. Do you commit to, when you're doing this, to say, well, I'm going to now show a close-up of the animal while we're talking about that animal, or how does that work in your mind?
It really depends. That didn't really happen that much in this, but you'll see. But really, that kind of stuff.
You shoot it as it lays out there, and you just kind of have an instinct for it?
Yeah, I
it's the same with me,
never
too.
really have a complete thought of what I'm going to do with
Right.
everything, but it all seems to fit together.
Yeah. So, what's the name of this piece?
It doesn't really have a set name. It's just the Sammy's Friends
Sammy's Friends.
video. Yeah.
Okay, let's roll Sammy's Friends. If we have that queued up.
We pay for lots of animals in the community to get veterinary care that don't have anyone else to care for them. We probably cared for about 3,500 animals in terms of medical care.
So to me, Sammy's Friends, it's a place that I love this place because everything about this organization screams dedication to me. Everybody here loves the animals as much as I do. I feel very safe. This is my family.
Right now, there's probably, around 80 animals here at the shelter, and most of the animals we get are cats and dogs, but we do get other, like yesterday we got 6 goats, a llama, 3 turkeys. We've had boa constrictors, we've had iguanas, we have a guinea pig right now, we've had hamsters, we've had horses, cows, sheep, pigs, a little bit of everything, but 98% of them are cats and dogs.
I think we've got 5 staff members and probably 100 or so or more volunteers. So if we didn't have them, we wouldn't be running, I can tell you that. Volunteering is huge. And I think it's the fulfillment that you get from volunteering that is priceless. And there's no way to really describe it. You have to come in and volunteer to understand what I'm talking about.
The shelter actually provided one of the dogs that I currently own, and so I feel like it's kind of giving back because, you know, my dog came from the pound, so this is kind of my way of thanking them. And I don't know, it's a good service, and they need as much help as they can get, so I want to help out in the best way that I can.
I lived in Arizona and I moved out here and I used to work at the animal shelter, so I decided to see if they needed volunteers. I do it for just, I don't know, I care about them a lot.
This building right here was used to house the animals that had been put down. At that time, we had about probably 65% of the animals getting euthanized each year. And thanks to Cheryl and also some very dedicated people in our community, we got that number down to just 2% within a few years. So today we don't use this freezer for things like that anymore. It's actually not even turned on. It's just a nice place to store dog food and cat food, and no turning back on that. Everybody gets treated with respect no matter who they are. You know, a member of the public is maybe not educated very well on spaying and neutering. Our volunteers, our staff, no matter who you are, you walk through these doors, we will treat you with dignity and respect. We will help you. We will bend over backwards to help animals. So I guess it's not being afraid of thinking about what the outcome of an animal is going to be when they walk through the door. Because I know that everybody that is here is just as dedicated as I am to finding that animal the perfect forever home.
Great. There's a really nice piece story. Let's talk a little bit about two things in there. One is the music. And tell us about the interesting music at the front of the... What is that instrument?
Well, that was from a website called Incompetech.com. This guy does all this royalty-free music. It's all free and some really great stuff. But it was just a piano piece that I kind of liked, but it didn't work perfectly, so we decided to play it backwards. And it worked much better that way. And I kind of like the sound of piano played in reverse. It's kind of a cool sound. So now whenever we have some kind of music on a video and it doesn't seem to work perfectly, play it backwards to see if it works better.
Right. It sort of sounds like almost like a little bit of a string quartet, and then has like a bagpipe sound to it, kind of. It's a very interesting sound. You know, I was trying to place what is this. And
Yeah.
Then the other point I wanted to make was tell us a little bit how you the film had a pace to it. It started out a little bit slower in terms of how many seconds you're on a particular shot, and then at the end you really picked the pace up. The music was faster.
Our montage, yeah.
The montage. Tell us how you planned that, or did you?
Well, it wasn't planned when we were filming, but definitely when we were editing, we knew we wanted it to start out kind of slow and sad, kind of, and in the middle it would kind of pick up and turn a little bit more happy with that music, and then the end it needed to have the most energy.
Right.
So, and I think we accomplished that pretty well.
Right.
So,
and how do you choose? What goes into the choice of having a voiceover where you have a picture and somebody is actually talking? How do you decide what to do there?
Well,
I'm asking these guys questions that they take intuitively, but every artist really, at some point, you begin to deconstruct it.
I guess. That's
and
what
to
it is.
figure out why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm not even really sure. It's usually like the voiceover at the end was actually something we did after the fact. It didn't have that, and then we realized that it really needed something, and we put that in there, and that helps a lot. And sometimes it's just really if you do something what we do is, or what I've done is, I'll try to get some kind of basic structure and then see where a voiceover would fit in, and then get some stuff recorded. And in this case, it was just the audio from the video we shot. It wasn't specifically recorded for a voiceover. And sometimes that, I mean, like in this specifically, we knew we were going to have some kind of voiceover stuff, but it wasn't definitely planned. If we had, we probably would have recorded with a different mic just to get better quality, but you just have to work with what you have, and that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that answers the question at all.
Well, sometimes you have, yeah, I mean, there are points, I think, when you're editing where you say, well, that's a really good shot, but I don't kind of like the the audio part.
Yeah.
And, and then you have a little audio part that has a little sound bite to it that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
And then you add, so how do you work, when does the music come in? Near the end?
For me, it actually, music for me is really important. I can't actually work with a video if it doesn't have something. Like with that video I talked about earlier, with that Geico kind of thing, I put all the sound effects in before I did any kind of effects. Because for me, I really need to see how it's going to look and sound before I do anything. And with this one, the first thing I did was we picked the music, and then we picked the shots to go with that music. Because for me, if I do anything before the music, it really limits you to what you can choose.
Right, in a way, the music provides a better structure that you can, more flexibility in terms
That's
of
just
the
the
video.
opposite with me. I just put the videos together and then lay it out the way I want it, and then I stick the music that corresponds to the style of shot layout that I have.
Which is, one of the
It's just
great,
a different technique.
Debates always in writing music as to whether you do the lyrics or the music first. Some people do it either way. How long did that particular video take you to do from start to finish?
That took us a few months. It would have taken us a lot shorter but it was during school, and we could really only do it. We'd go there, and we filmed like 4 times, so we weren't really sure what we wanted the first few times, and it's mostly just B-roll and stuff we were filming, and then we realized we needed more interviews. But we started in like January, and it took us, I think, like 3 months to get everything finished. I mean, overall, if we had done it, if we weren't in school at the time, it probably would have only taken us like a couple weeks. But
still a long time for a relatively short thing.
Yes, definitely.
So now I want to go to Droy's second piece. Now, before we do this, Droy has become a celebrity in our community because he was on the front page of the Union just last week as an explanation of what the video is about. So you're almost done with the video, is that right?
Yeah, I'm very close, I think, I hope. It seems like I keep going back to it once in a while and changing stuff, so I never know when it'll be completely finished, but I'd like to think that it's going to be that's about done.
When I was in graduate school in theater, I took a visual art class with the MFA students, and the big topic of the discussion of the whole semester was when you know it's done, because you can ruin stuff if you overwork it. The thing about videography is good is that you get to go back and redo it if you don't. So this is a piece about homelessness in Nevada County.
Yes, it's a shortish documentary. It's like 25 minutes about just the issue of homelessness in Nevada County. We started it last September, I think, and I worked on. We got a lot of shooting done early, but just recently I kind of restarted it and started from scratch and got what was the more finished version. But
okay, let's roll that, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
The greatest challenge being homeless as a female, I say, is a restroom with running water.
The very first thing that you go through, besides being scared of not knowing what to do, first thing you do is try to find a place to sleep where the cops aren't going to bother you. What am I going to? I haven't got a roof over my head anymore.
Major challenge, I think, is homes for homeless people. Our housing market's really expensive and it's hard to get in.
Every night, tens of thousands of Americans have no permanent shelter. If they are lucky, they sleep in homeless shelters. Those who are not so fortunate wander the streets, sleep in doorways or park benches, or if they are homeless in rural areas, they sleep in the woods. In western Nevada County, hundreds of our fellow citizens sleep outside each night. About 5 years ago, Hospitality House in Grass Valley opened its doors to provide shelter for those without. We spoke to Tammy, who was a guest at Hospitality House. We then spoke to another guest, Chip. We then met with Tony Thompson, Executive Director of the Food Bank of Nevada County. She explained the food bank's part in feeding homeless and low-income people in Nevada County.
Everybody is within 3 days of being homeless, okay? You have a lot of people that have jobs that are getting laid off. You have homes, where people, they're foreclosing on the homes, all kinds of different ways to end up being homeless.
I maintain an apartment and my children, vacations in the car, and everything that every other person wants, I had, yeah.
It just fell apart.
But lost my job to start, yeah. And then everything fell from there.
I don't think that addiction causes homelessness, but I think homelessness can certainly cause addiction. I think that it's really hard. It's just not... It's not a good feeling to be afraid when you go to sleep. It's not a good feeling to have one eye open and one ear open all night long. And sleep deprivation can get to anyone, anytime, and it shows up.
All right. You can have an education. You can have a college education. You can have a high school education. I don't care what your thing is. That you're within 3 days of being homeless. And all of a sudden you find yourself out on that street. You got laid off, house got foreclosed, whatever. And the very first thing that you go through, besides being scared of not knowing what to do, first thing you do is try to find a place to sleep to where the cops aren't going to bother you. What do I got? I haven't got a roof over my head anymore.
Sobering message. What? Tell me how you got started on this project, Roy.
Well, John Fletcher, who's he's a family friend, he and a homeless advocate, he came to me and asked, he was interested in doing a film about about homelessness in the area, and I had just come back from Brown and was definitely interested in doing a video, and I thought that would be a great subject to do it on, since I didn't really know much about it and I'd never done a documentary. So we started, and we met with some of those people, some homeless people. One of the woman, Tammy, actually has since died of melanoma, and it's really unfortunate. But we then went around and to different places where homeless
camp out.
Camp,
and there are places in every county, I think, that homeless people know about.
Yeah, and we went to a few of those kind of places, and it was a really interesting experience.
Yeah. So now, when you're doing a documentary of 25, 26 minutes, do you storyboard much of it?
I wish I had. No. I'm not really good at pre-production, and I realize that after every project I do, that I wish I had done more, especially in this one, since I had gone through, I'm on my 27th version of this, I think now. So, in the beginning, I had made a rough cut. It was like 40 minutes long. It was way too long. It was slow. It didn't really have. It wasn't that great. So then I kind of took a break from it and came back like a couple months later, and then started completely over, and got to this point. But if I had done some kind of storyboarding, it probably would have gone much smoother and quicker. But I at the time, I wasn't really sure how to do that for a documentary, since I wasn't sure what we were going to be doing, and it just kind of, one thing led to another. We'd do this, and then we'd go out and do some more shooting. And
right. So I suppose along the way, you, Mr. Fletcher, probably said, well, we didn't capture this aspect or that aspect, and try to go out and find footage or a guest who exemplifies that.
We we did some stuff, then realized we needed more non-interviews.
Yeah.
Because that's really what we started out with, and we drove around town and we got a lot of stuff, and then actually quite recently, like last week actually. We went out and refilmed some stuff and got some more footage with my new camera, because at the time I was using a camera that shot on DV tape, so the quality wasn't that great. So I wanted to get some better stuff, since I have all new equipment now since then. And then there were times when I would realized that I just needed a lot more B-roll, so I just go out and I shot some, like that intro shot with that homeless man. We went around and just different places where we knew homeless people were, and camped out, and we shot some stuff.
How did they react, some of your the guests or the actors in the documentary, the real people?
Yeah.
How did they react to you shooting them? Were some people not willing to?
Some people are not willing at all.
Hostile, or
there was one guy who said he'd break my camera if I filmed him. So we made sure that we asked some people, and those were the people who Chip and Tammy were the two people who we felt would be the best, and were definitely willing to be in it, and they did a good job, I thought. I mean, they definitely had some really interesting things to say.
Now, with a piece like this, what's next for this film?
I was contacted by Sierra College. They're doing actually a film series, and they wanted to show it there. So I'm going to meet with them. We're going to hopefully get it out of some other venues, and just to raise awareness. So I'm not 100% sure how where it's going, but we're definitely going to be showing it in some places in the near future.
So we've got about 2 minutes left, so we're going to have to wrap up soon. Honor, you're going to go on to, or at least you want to be an engineer, right?
Yeah, I'm actually moving away from video.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's like a hobby for me, video. Yeah. But I don't think it's going to really be a good future for me.
Yeah.
I think electronics and computers are a little bit more better career
But
fields.
of course it merges into, the more we go into new technology, the more it gets to be artistic in a way. I mean, there's lots of applications that people are designing, so that's interesting that you would, step off from film and go into engineering. What convinced you, Roy, that that film would be a good future for you?
Well, I'm still not completely sure. And I've always really loved doing it, and I would like to continue. And I'm trying to look at different colleges that have good film departments, but I don't want to tie myself down to something. And so I'm trying to not go to like a film only or art school in case I want to do something different.
You always change your major.
Yeah, so I'm still not completely sure, but I think that's probably close to. That's probably something I would like to do.
Well, I just want to say, on behalf of everybody at the station, that we certainly have enjoyed having you guys here. You honor as you go on.
Yeah, I'll definitely come back.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope you will come back. And Troy, you're still going to be with us for the coming year. We've got some exciting things that we hold some real good promise for. So once again, it's Droy Kiva and Honor Olmez, two of our interns here at the NCTV, and that's about all we have time for tonight. This is Paul Minicucci signing off for now, and hope to see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Take the outro. Outro.
Wonderful.
Mics are down.
Wait a minute.
Sorry, lady, but you can't park your bike on this here sidewalk.
But I'm working here. I'm a delivery bird, for pizza's sake.
Later that night, Pinky got together with all of her fellow delivery birds, and they formed a special interest group.
We've got to overturn this law that says delivery birds can't park their bikes on the sidewalk. Who's with me?
The SWDBU went on to urge legislators to change the law prohibiting the parking of bikes on sidewalks, but met fierce resistance from another special interest group, Concerned Citizens for Uncluttered Sidewalks. After hearing both sides, lawmakers added an exemption to the law that allowed delivery birds to park their bikes on the sidewalks temporarily while making their deliveries. Both groups called the decision a success. That's the role that special interests play in our democracy, giving voice